Fallout can be played in a number of different ways. I've seen people do it with fists. I've seen people do it as a pacifist. I've seen people do it with nothing but a frying pan. But today, I wanted to answer a different question. Can you beat Fallout 4 as a Courser? Now, the rules for this run are quite simple. The only thing that I can use to attack enemies are my fists and institute weaponry. The only armour that I can wear is a Courser uniform and sunglasses. And considering you only get a Courser uniform at the end of a second act, you can just imagine this run was absolute hell. But anyway, let's get into the video. So character creation was a very easy choice. You never see any Coursers with any hair or any blemishes, so all I needed to do was make a pristine person with no hair. Using the default model was the easy choice there. After that, we had the choice of a special, and in all fairness, with special, there is no reason to say that a Courser couldn't be a 10 in every single stat. They're extremely capable hand-to-hand fighters, constituting a 10 in strength. They're extremely perceptive and they know exactly where you are at all times. They're tanky as all hell. Of course, they're synthetic as well and have a lot of knowledge on combat, so they could have top intelligence. They're extremely capable at getting into and out of a location very quietly. And they're extremely durable tech created by the Institute, so of course they're lucky. So meet X689. These are the stats that I settled on and the character was ready. After that, I leave the random woman and child behind, run up the hill, get myself onto a safe platform. The woman and child just appear out of nowhere and I tell my husband I love him. Then I go get turned into ice cream and the run can begin. Now, I have some mods installed that change around some enemy spawn locations that give you extremely tough enemies and weapons to go against from the get-go, and I just knew for a fact that leaving Sanctuary without some levels behind me was a very dumb idea. So before I go anywhere, I place down some posts, get some levels, and get a couple of perks, grab the buck to increase my endurance, and then I make a break for Cambridge Police Station. On the way, I see a couple of people begging Trudy for her money, so we quickly make her problems disappear. We teach some wasteland justice to a child that's out past curfew, and before I know it, I make it to the police station where Buzz Lightyear is in a hell of a lot of trouble. When we finally cleared out the ghouls, I spoke to Paladin Dance and it turns out he needs some help. See, his ancestors ended up taking away his phone, and he needed help getting the search history deleted. Wanting to help out a fellow robot man, I agreed to help him and we went on our way to Arcjet. On the way, there was some raiders who decided that they wanted to pick a fight with us, and of course, not wanting to be stopped in our tracks, we end up bullying them into submission. In this fight, I end up showing just how OP third-person melee combat is, and my god, an enemy that was easily 40 levels above me just crumpled under the power that was third-person unarmed combat. We make it over to Arcjet, and when we go in, it turns out someone's fist-fucked an entire army of robots to death. Shout out if you know what that's from. I end up hacking into a terminal and opening a door, and all of my brothers just disperse. And it's here that I get the only weapon that I use throughout the entirety of the run. Say hello to the Institute rifle. So myself and Optimus Prime end up running all the way through Arcjet, taking out anything that's in our way, and we make it to the rocket area. I go around the back because some happy man told me he had candy there, and we get the elevator powered up. At this point, synths just absolutely swarm Dance. Of course, me not wanting Dance to get hurt, I watch intently and learn from his combat skills, watching as he vaporizes all of his synths into a powdery mess. Of course, not wanting to watch all of my brothers die, I decide to turn on the rocket and punish Dance for what he's done. No wonder his phone was taken away. Eventually we get to the top of the facility, grab Dance's phone, and make a break for it. He ends up giving me his laser pen, and we part ways. I went and punched a swan in the face. He didn't like it very much, and then cleared out some tunnels and found a vault. In this vault, I ended up taking out Al Capone wannabes, wasted a crit on a dinosaur, and saved another robot man. It was at this point I realised just how badly the mods were really harming my playthrough. I was just getting cut to pieces within this vault. Nonetheless, myself and Nick ended up taking out Skinny, Darla, and all of his friends, escaping the claustrophobic tunnels, and making our way over to a giant diamond. I told him about the bald man who stopped me being ice cream. We performed a home invasion, and then ran all the way over to Fort Hagen. Hagen? How do you pronounce that? Anyway, I blast through a bunch of robotic skeletons, and have a fight with Kellogg. A fight of which, yeah. Nick wasn't supposed to be there. I'm so glad he was. Anyway, I mangle Kellogg's face, go outside, see a giant blimp, and run off to Goodneighbor. This is the second time I get to be inside Cornflakes' head, and I finally get a lead to get back home. I need to find someone in the glowing sea. In the meantime, wanting to save time, I decide to go and visit with train friends. They immediately apprehend me, but of course there's a random guy who decides that stalking is the best option. He informs them that I'm a big deal in the wasteland and decides to take me on a little quest. He decides he wants to take me underground so that we can continue their old drug smuggling operation. Of course, I know that's naughty, but I also know they're the only way to get back home. So regrettably, I dispatch some more of my brothers and then head out to the glowing sea. The journey over to the glowing sea was rather uneventful. I avoided any combat that I could, knowing for a fact that it was a guaranteed death sentence. I ran over to the crater where the bomb had hit and got some advice as to where to find Virgil. When I get to a cave, I know for a fact that I'm screwed. There's a Deathclaw just hiding outside, and I know for a fact that if that thing touches me, I'm dead meat. So I end up putting in a couple of pot shots just to lure it away from the cave entrance, and then I run inside. When I'm inside, I talk to the Virgin, find out that he wants a vial of mystery jizz to turn himself back into a human, and he sends me on my way to get my clothes. Of course, when I leave the cave, Mr. Cuddles is still sitting there, so I have to dispatch him, and after a while, I manage to finally vaporize him. We make it over to the CIT ruins, and we start our trek to Green Tech Genetics. Fighting through the absolute horde of gunners wasn't even the hardest part. When I get to the top, we find out that one of my brothers have decided that he wants to kidnap a woman behind some glass. Of course, the gunners had already claimed her as their toy, but the Corsair immediately displays his dominance. After a lengthy fight, I finally managed to overpower him. I get my clothes as well as his brain chip. Going back to the Virgin in question, we get the plans to make our own makeshift molecular relay. And this was it. I was finally able to go home. Of course, before that, I needed to talk to the train pals. Needed to establish a base so that way we could build all of the units required. Eventually, the teleporter is constructed, we have a little chat, and I get to set sail back home. After making it back home, I traumatize a child, speak to my son dad, and he tells me that I need to introduce myself to everyone in the institute. Of course, while I'm there, I pickpocket all of my brothers and get myself some synth relay grenades. They are gonna come in extra handy throughout this entire playthrough. After that, I'm instructed to go to Libertalia, and it's at this moment where I had to download a couple more mods. See, the mods that I already had installed made a lot of enemies overpowered, but it's really here where I just hit a brick wall. So I thought, in essence of game balance, because of the fact that the Corsair uniform itself is dog shit for protection, I would download a mod that enhances the synth relay grenades and a mod that allows you to craft them. See, synth relay grenades you can only get once you've completed the main quest for the Institute as a buyable item in the commissary. To balance this out, once I'd gotten the perks to be able to craft them, what I would do is empty out the caps in the synth commissary and then sell the synth relay grenades that I'd crafted into it so that I didn't get any benefit, and then I would buy them back. That way, at least I bought them legitimately. Secondly, the standard synth relay grenade only spawns one level 5 unarmored synth. That's like sending in a naked man into World War II. That's just not gonna happen. So with the other mod that I installed, it instead summons 3 synths, one of which is fully armoured, one of which is partially armoured, and one of which is skeletal. That way it at least tipped the balance back towards being even. So I met with X688, cleared the pirates from the bay, and made my way all the way upstairs. I found 2 of the same shotgun, that was always handy, and then everything just bricked. Immediately, the synths that I had with me were hostile towards the raiders. In this section, they're all supposed to be friendly at this point. So anyway, X688 does his best Dorothy impression, clicks his heels 3 times and wishes to be at the Institute, and he leaves me alone to my kingdom. Getting back home, my son-dad was very impressed, and then he set my sights on bigger targets. Bunker Hill. Turns out there was a group of runaway synths that decided to insult everyone's mothers. Of course, being the weak little toasters that they were, the railroad decided to get involved to try to help them. Of course, the brotherhood of simps were also very mad, because they decided to tell Elder Maxon that his coat was ugly. So they came in full steam and decided to absolutely decimate the opposition. At this point, I hadn't actually technically chosen a side, so I could walk around with free reign, and I get to the motherfuckers who decided to insult their own family. So I give each and every single one of them a stern telling off, tell them to go home, and then Sean and I decide to do our best Lion King impression. Sean asks me to come to a meeting, and I do. He tells us all that he has cancer and he soon might die, so he wants to leave me in charge. Of course, I call him a noob, everyone else calls him a noob, and then everyone calls me a noob. Turns out people are mad because Robot Man can't be in charge. Turns out Robot is not man, Robot is robot, and they are big mad about it. I'm told about a big power issue and that the Institute can't produce their own power properly. Imagine they can dig this deep, create their own robots, and yet somehow can't make their reactor run properly. Anyway, myself and Ali go off to mass fusion, fight our way through some Brotherhood soldiers, she kills me a couple of times, and we make it to the basement. Here there's absolutely no hostility, so I go and grab the beryllium vibrator, and on my way out, we have to fight through an army of robots. We've got Protectrons, Sentry Bots, Assaultrons, turrets. But when we do get out of there, I help clear up all of the remaining Brotherhood. And by help, I mean watch. I'm sent to abduct, recruit a man. Sean has me go and record a speech, go play with a radio station, and then we go and power up the Institute again. I'm sent to another meeting where I tell them that we need to make our flashlights brighter. It's dark underground. And then he sends me off on my penultimate mission. The Choo Choo crew were a nice drop in difficulty. Overall, with their weak armor and mostly weak weapons, they got dropped pretty damn quick. Couple of synths in there as well. It was happy days. Now finally, when I return home, Sean sends me on my last mission. It's time to eliminate the Brotherhood of Simps. This mission played out a lot differently compared to the rest of the playthrough. My stealth boys were used very liberally in order to make sure that the Brotherhood didn't spot me. They had weapons that would absolutely chew through me. There were a couple of deaths, absolutely, but with the right movements, we managed to pop one of the EMPs, allowing for synths to swarm from the vertibird landing pad. We managed to swerve our way up to the listening post, where we took out the second EMP, and then completely swarmed the Brotherhood on the way to the third and final one. From here we climbed up to the top of the post where they were rebuilding the ultimate Brotherhood weapon. Seriously, what is their obsession with Liberty Prime? I mean, I know he was a god tier weapon, but they have access to so much. Nonetheless, I had an absolute field day with the synth relay grenades. An entire army flooded the floor, the rooftops, and all of the hallways of the airport, and we managed to destroy the Hindenburg. I head home one last time, just to watch my son-dad die, and we close out the game, proving that yes, you can beat Fallout 4 as an Institute Corsair. Of course, I had one last goal. You see, we had a runaway long before I'd even joined, and we say no to virgins.
Recombinant counter in.
You're already dead. That's it. Please don't run. Threat eliminated.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you leave a like, subscribe, and maybe share me around. I also stream over on Twitch, so if you'd like to catch all of this carnage live, make sure you follow me there. We have a Discord, where you can join in on all of the chaos on Fallout 76 and all of the other games. And if you're a big fan of the lore, make sure that you click on one of the videos tagged here. Thank you very much and good night.